Last night, we told you the chilling story of a Quebec woman arrested for hacking into people's personal computers and spying on them through their webcams. It's not the only creepy thing hackers can do. In fact, right now, a website out of Russia is streaming hacked security cameras and webcams.
See, that's my thing. Like, even with my laptop computer, my laptop camera, I always have my blocker on, and like, it's just certain things that I can't do with the laptop facing me. I can't do that. I can't.
Screen at the UK's National Health Service demanding ransom.
The website broadcasts pictures from tens of thousands of private web cameras peering into the lives of unsuspecting victims across the globe.
And
like inside a little shop in Amarillo.
Keep in mind that someone may be watching you.
The dark side, they say the dark side of Reddit as if it isn't a necessity.
And as of 2016, the site has amassed over 236 million unique viewers with over 8 billion page views per month. This goes without saying that with all the posts and conversations taking place there on a daily basis, there's bound to be some weird and disturbing stuff hidden beneath the surface and waiting to be found. Today, Rainbot and I are going to be sharing with you some hidden gems from the dark and disturbing side of Reddit.
Talk to me.
A user by the name of Yay Video Games seemed to be active on many gaming subreddits before a stunt on one post that resulted in him getting banned. A few years ago, a user named I Wish I Was a Meme made a post in the gaming subreddit asking what everyone's favorite mods were for Elder Scrolls Oblivion. As expected, users chimed in with their recommendations on what to install. However, things began to get a bit weird when Yay Video Games responded. His initial response seemed quite normal and sarcastic and read, "The uninstall button. The game is great and all that, but god, it is hard to fully remove all the junk it leaves behind on your system. You really need to check out that mod when the time comes to get rid of it. Otherwise, I think Oscuro's Oblivion Overhaul is a nice start." Now, this is nothing out of the ordinary, right? I thought so too. A user, who since deleted their account, responded with a simple "what?", which prompted Yay Video Games to reply with this: "The uninstall button. The game is great. Ubisoft goes Steamworks bye-bye always on DRM. But you oft go work. Always on work DR. Check out the junk it leaves behind in you." Now after reading this, we can assume that he must have been carelessly typing, or he could have been tired or something like that.
I don't know
Still,
what he's
nothing
saying.
too out of the ordinary. The other guy we mentioned then responds once more stating this: "That makes even less sense. Oblivion has an uninstall button and it works. I've used it more times than I care to mention. All mods install themselves in Oblivion's directory. The uninstall doesn't touch them as it's unaware. All you do is delete the Oblivion directory." After this, it just begins to get weird. Yay Video Games then begins responding with the same phrase, "Ubisoft goes Steamworks bye-bye, always on DRM," over and over to the point where he floods the guy's comment thread with countless replies stating that same phrase. Jumping over to another post in gaming
That would've been
by a user who
creepy.
since deleted their account, we can see a post titled "Ubisoft goes Steamworks bye-bye, always on DRM," which contains a link to a page which now 404s. In this thread, we can see a few groups of people. 1. People actually talking about Ubisoft and their apparent split from DRM on their games. 2. People freaking out and wondering what the hell's going on. And 3. Yay Video Games and a congregation of other users repeatedly posting different spins
Yeah,
on
because
that
then
same
people want to
phrase.
be trolls.
Now, right here, you might initially be able to pass this guy off as a spammer, and to be quite honest, I felt the same way. It, however, gets interesting when you realize the fact that this guy commented this mess over 4,000 times. Not only does he
Yeah,
do
he's
that,
doing
he
too
also
much.
formats each comment differently, with some being self-referential, some containing bold, some containing italics, some containing links, and the vast majority, if not all of them, having unique spelling and length. This guy did more than copy and paste, and to be quite honest, it doesn't stop there. I had just mentioned that Yay Video Games had included links in his comments, and I wanted to share some of those with you. As we can see, the links are sporadically placed within letters and random assortments of words that all take a spin on his initial phrase. Each link takes us to an image that seems to get more and more disturbing and weird as we go along. Now, as we can see, most of these appear to be
My
completely
whole thing is that this could be on like someone trolling, but then it's like, how far are people gonna go to troll? Like, I'm not gonna sit and comment something over 4,000 times, and it be a troll or like have all these fake links or all this extra. I'm not I might have comment that like 10 times. After that, I'm like, ah ha ha, just kidding. Like, I'm not doing a whole lot.
Random, and there are honestly quite a few that come off as pretty funny. We have one that depicts a drawing of Asian people laughing in underwear while others standing across from them appear to be holding an imaginary gun. We have one that depicts a person in a witch hat with an explosion in the background. There's another that shows a lady pouring milk onto the ground, and there's another that appears to be a distorted person diving into the ground on a beach. It's honestly pretty random, however it gets interesting when we discover the fact that embedded in one of his comments is this. Now at this point, this seems to be what we've gathered so far. 1. We have an unknown person who seemed to have undergone a change of some sort, leading him to post the same phrase over and over again. 2. The person seems to have self-referential and uniquely formatted comments that would take some time to make. And 3. The comments seem to have a random assortment of bizarre images embedded throughout, with the most notable one being the actual writing of the same phrase that's being posted. Nobody seems to be able to have any explanation for this, although there are many theories that have been thrown around, ranging from a guy who actually snapped and went insane, to a very sophisticated bot that ran the helm of this entire fiasco. Lastly, if anyone tries to access his Reddit profile, they'll simply be met with a 404, and that's it.
A user on a throwaway account called IDK What Even Is This made a post about a year ago on the relationship advice subreddit, claiming that she had found a random digital camera hidden away under her kitchen sink. She began by stating that her and her husband's relationship is pretty happy-go-lucky, and that nothing really out of the ordinary tends to happen. She's still waiting on her work authorization since she's fairly new to the US, and because of that she has a lot of free time to poke around the house. She stated that one day she randomly stumbled upon an old, dusty biscuit tin while cleaning under her kitchen sink, and began to look inside when she noticed a very well-kept digital camera. After turning it on, she realized that there were random assortments of images taken in pairs of only her things. For instance, she claims that she...
Because my whole thing with that, though, is that... Is you going, like, I don't know, I would... it's like on the level, it's like, do you want to confront the husband about it? But it's like, I would only want to confront him if I know for a fact it's not him. If it's him and I confront him, we don't know what's going to pop off. We don't know.
Found 2 respective photos of her purse hanging on their dining room chair, followed by 2 pictures of her makeup, and then 2 pictures of her keys on the kitchen counter, and so on and so forth.
That's a cute little vanity setup. Is that for real?
Or is that a Google image? She didn't quite know what to make of it, if she should even bring it up, and that she was completely confused as to why her husband would do this.
But we don't even know it's him for real.
Commenters responded to this with theories being thrown all over the place. In regards to the photos being in pairs, they suggested that the husband possibly didn't know how to properly operate the camera, and like many people, held down the button for too long, resulting in the pictures coming out in pairs. Also, in regards to the photos of the items themselves, well, there have been claims that 1, he could be doing it to possibly ensure that he didn't get her a birthday or a Christmas gift of something that she already has. 2, he's shuffling through her items when she's not around and possibly dressing up and using her things without her knowledge as some sort of fetish. 3, he thinks that there's a ghost haunting the house and wants to make sure that the items are where they left them.
But we gotta also keep in mind, wait.
4, he's doing it for insurance purposes in case anything were to happen to these items.
I was gonna say, but we gotta keep in mind a possibility it might not be him. But if it's not him, then it's like, it's creepy, but it's also like, I don't know which scenario I would really want. Like, this is creepy.
Now, I want to take a moment to pick some of these apart. In regards to theory 1, the gift thing would make sense. However, she also stated that he had taken pictures of her keys, which essentially voids this claim. Theory 2, while weird as shit, could be a sensible one, with the husband ensuring that he leaves her used items where they initially were. However, if he was actually doing this, and depending on how big he is, then she most likely would have noticed her things being stretched or maybe her makeup being used, so to be quite honest, this seems unlikely. Regarding theory number 3, I honestly think it's silly. First off, why the hell would he hide these photos from his wife, and also if there was actually something weird going on in the house, the wife would most definitely have noticed since she seems to be the one that's home most of the time anyway. Lastly, with number 4 being the most logical and least extreme theory, once again, Why would he be compelled to hide the camera in a dusty biscuit tin under the sink without telling his wife? It just doesn't add up, and it's left a lot of people, including myself, confused and intrigued. All in all, she hasn't been heard from since she never returned to follow up on the story. It's all pretty sketchy, and I'm still curious exactly what this guy was doing with all those pictures.
Don't tell me no story you don't give a follow-up. The whole time you could have just shut up.
A user named Poisoned by Mom used a throwaway account to make a post on the Off My Chest subreddit claiming that he believed that he was being poisoned by his own mother. He walked us through his backstory, claiming that since he had become an adult, his mother had become extremely manipulative and was completely against him moving out of the house and getting on his feet. He stated that he originally landed a job as a line cook, with his parents constantly reminding him that they're against it. Fast forward, and he eventually left due to health reasons, and after this, got another job as a computer programmer. He claims that while he had this job, his mother and sister had become very hostile, which eventually led to him moving out of the house to live on his own.
You want him to make money or not? Like, he was a cook, y'all was mad. He became a computer programmer, y'all get mad. What did you want him to do?
After working for the programming company for a short while, they eventually let him go, which forced him to have to move back home. For a while during his stay back with his family, he claims that everything seemed to go well until he began getting calls from recruiters, which led them to become hostile once again. They began throwing remarks at him along the lines of the idea that he didn't love them anymore and that he hated them. It was super manipulative stuff. Eventually, he landed the gig at the programming company once more, and the day before he was scheduled to move out, his mother randomly gave him 2 ramen noodle cups and various other food items to eat while he was away. He knew that she knew that he didn't have any money, so that's why he initially assumed that she was actually somewhat helping him out, all hostility aside. After his first day at his new job and place, he ate one of the cups of ramen and began to feel ill. He stated that he felt this way before after his sister once fed him something bad a few years prior. He said he felt weak, lightheaded, and short of breath. Even more interestingly, his mother kept following up with him to ensure that he ate the ramen. This eventually led him to believe that, through researching on the internet, he was poisoned by his own mother with cyanide, since most of the symptoms that he was experiencing were the exact same.
But it's like, what are they mad for? Why they high? Why you that mad to poison me? Over some noodles?
And also, due to the fact that his mother was eerily adamant on him eating his ramen. He went forward and bought a cyanide test kit online and posted his results, which appear to have come up positive. He then ended his post with a statement saying that he's going to call the cops and never talk to his family again, followed with an update that the authorities unfortunately couldn't do much with his kit since it was open. A few months later, he posted another update claiming that he was living out of a cheap motel in Kansas and that apparently his mother had somehow found him and called the motel. She asked if she could speak with him, and the motel refused to give her his information.
She didn't just... Okay, so you stupid... Okay, this whole thing is just... Because it's like she didn't just call up no random hotel and knew you was going to be... No, knock it off.
He couldn't prove that she was his mother. The motel then notified him of this, and we can assume that he felt unnerved. He stated that the next day for work, he left a little earlier than usual just to be safe. While at the bus stop, he noticed a strange and random car with the driver wearing an ominous black hood. Thinking back, he remembered that his mother had once told him that if she visited him, she would be in a rental car, and so he assumed that this was his mother dressed pretty strangely. After catching a glimpse of her face, he knew for sure that it was her, and she kept signaling for him to come closer to her, and that she only wanted a hug. He quickly refused, and proceeded to take another bus to his job, as she knows where his usual stop is now. After this, he then closed his last post by asking for advice, and if there are any other programming job openings around the area, in hopes of being able to move. His very last update was in a comment with him claiming that he did in fact find another job, and is now living out of state in much better health.
Thank you.
The creepiest part about this entire story is the fact that his mother, his own flesh and blood, attempted to manipulate him into staying home and living with her and her husband indefinitely. Generally, the very premise
That's why she tight?
Getting on their feet and growing up as an adult is usually applauded by the parents. However, as we can see with our victim, this was definitely not the case. Furthermore, the fact that his own mother poisoned him for being successful and having the ability to move out on his own is astonishing to me. It's one thing to be disappointed and manipulative toward your child, however it's a completely different story when you come to determine the fact that they attempted to kill him. With proper evidence, this family could be put in prison or jail. However, due to the unfortunate circumstances surrounding this, our victim can do nothing but cut them off and live his own separate life entirely.